Hello, welcome to Inner Thoughts. My name is Victoria, and today's guest we have with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
For sure. My name is Desiree Greene. I am Miss Canada Transcontinental 2025.
Which is the first ever title for this, right?
Yes, it is.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the title since it is the first one?
Yeah, absolutely. So Transcontinental Pageants has been going strong for 10 years. They've been in the US, they've been in Europe, and recently expanded to Africa. And this summer, 2025, they chose to extend it to Canada. And so they reached out to me via invitation, and I did a couple of interviews, and I headed off to Toronto to compete in a pageant once again, and I came back with the title. It was really surreal.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how do you feel with this title?
Grateful, super motivated. Genuinely, it's just been one amazing experience after the other. Having this title means so much to me because of like the impact that I can do with it, specifically being like the first title holder ever, and just also being a woman of color, like putting representation on the board is such a big thing. And so it's a little bit of nerve-wracking, but with confidence and knowing that I have the full support of my director and other queens too, it's really been amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's good hearing that you have support because that's what's most important. And what's the first thing that you want to do with this title, or have you already done something? Because I know you've had it for a little bit now.
Yeah, so one of the first things I wanted to do was connect with the community. I've already started doing that in my city of Lethbridge that I live in. I've been attending local events and supporting small businesses and showing up for cultural festivals. Just last week, I went to a small business market, Christmas market that was happening in this beautiful arts building that we have. And just being present. So far, my goal is just to continue to lift others with the title because the crown isn't just for me, it's for the people too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of leads into the next question, which is what do you wish to achieve during your whole reign?
I think my biggest goal is impact. I want to highlight underrepresented voices. I want to strengthen community connections. I want to expand my advocacy work. I want this year with this crown, the whole entire reign, to be remembered for like the service and not just appearances. Whether it's supporting youth, women, men, or partnering with local organizations, I just want to leave a meaningful footprint that the next Miss Canada can follow through.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said you kind of want to work on your advocacy. What would that be?
Yeah, so I have an initiative. It's called the Watch Me Initiative, and it focuses on representation, empowerment, and community. It stems from being told as a young girl that I couldn't do things or I wouldn't be able to achieve some things. And one of the words I always used to tell them was watch me. It was an act of defiance to prove people wrong and to prove myself right, but also just to show the world that it doesn't matter what boundaries people set on you. The sky is only the limit if that's what you believe. You can go above that. And so I wanted to show young people specifically because I am 24 and young adults, especially those who don't see themselves represented, that they belong in spaces. I also care deeply about mental well-being and access to support and creating safe spaces. And so for me, that's what I really hope this whole year that when people look back at what did she do, that's something that comes to mind.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you said you went into pageantry again for this one. So this clearly was not your first pageant. Do you want to kind of tell us about your pageant history leading up to this one?
Yeah, so I always tell a story. It's really funny. I have a bad habit of just clicking on random ads on Instagram. And so last year I clicked on an ad for Mrs. Canada Inc. And I didn't realize it till they sent me an email asking if I wanted to do an interview for a pageant. And I was like, when did I sign up for a pageant? I was so confused, and I was like, you know what? Like it's so different out of the blue. It's out of my comfort zone. I typically like to be in the background. And so to challenge myself, I said, sure, why not? I did a couple interviews. I made it there. I got the title for Miss Lethbridge 2024 and to 2025. That was also an amazing year. And then just going to Edmonton for the Miss North America Worlds pageant was so amazing. And I got to meet so many people and that moment of just realizing that the pageant world is so different than your everyday life. And it's nothing like Miss Congeniality. Like you meet a group of empowered women that are empowering each other and have such beautiful stories to share. And from that moment on, I knew that I'd be in love with pageants for life.
Yeah, that's amazing. So is this your, sorry, second one?
It would be my third one. I went to Atlanta for a Transcontinental Pageants Miss Universe, Miss of the Universe
Oh, okay.
pageant. I didn't win Miss of the Universe, but I did win Woman of Inspiration. And so that has also been a title that I hold really dearly with me. And I like to say they coincide with my Miss Canada Transcontinental title because everything that I do, I try to be inspired also by the people around me because it's not just what I can do for them, it's what I can learn from the people who are with me. And so I've been holding that title so dear to my heart because out of all the stories I heard that day during the question forum, I felt truly empowered and inspired by all those beautiful, heartfelt stories of women overcoming like domestic violence and different situations. And so to hear my name being called on the stage that day of a woman of inspiration goes to me, I was shocked and I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much I also had an impact on the people around me.
Yeah, that's honestly incredible. And do you want to tell us a little bit about like the pageant that you won, like what kind of the day-to-day was, what you guys did there?
Oh my goodness, the Toronto trip was amazing. Literally, it was for Miss Canada Transcontinental Pageants. First day was opening night, and meeting the other guests. We had to bring some gifts to share with other delegates, and other delegates had gifts for us. And we got to meet the director. Her name was Olena Talapa. She's amazing woman. And so first night was sashing titles, rundown for the week, and that was great. And then we went on different trips. We went to go to a alpaca farm. We went to Niagara Falls, and I've never been to Niagara Falls before. I was so excited to be able to check that off of my bucket list and just see how absolutely gorgeous it was in person. The alpaca farm was Oh my goodness, we got to feed them. There were cats everywhere. We got to we got to learn all about them. Oh my goodness, it was not an alpaca farm. It was an ostrich farm. So we got to go see an ostrich farm and got to learn a lot about ostriches and how great the ostrich oil is for your skin and your hair. And like the tourism day was sincerely, it was amazing. We went to a winery. It was called Amor winery, and the owner like talked about how it stemmed from her late mom and how like the love that goes into them making each bottle of wine, and that was such a beautiful day. And then after that it was practicing, and then we got to the final day, and it was so crazy for me because I had ordered so many clothes for this pageant. I was so excited and none of them showed up on time. They actually didn't even show up till like a week after I had come back from Toronto. So I had to go and run to the mall like 2 hours before my flight. And I was like, oh my goodness, because every day it said it was arriving that day, arriving that day. And I was just holding on to dear breath and wishing that like maybe like I can pack everything, it's gonna come. But like in the morning, it didn't. Ran to the mall. Shout out to the studio in Lethbridge. They were able to help me find my national costume, my finale dress, and my bathing suit all in one. And I stuffed everything on the plane. And there I was, and I was able to just do my best and smile. Funny enough, I didn't go with the anticipation of winning. I genuinely went for like gaining knowledge and getting to meet new people. Of course, like it's everybody says it's a competition at the end of the day. Like, of course, everybody wants to win, but I've always viewed it like either way, I am a winner. Because I get to meet so many new people and like hear how their lives have changed and how their stories and messages will continue to change my life and the connections I get to make from it. And so finale day was like everyone was nervous. I was nervous because I was number one. And I was like, oh, all eyes are gonna be on me again. And like I said, it was just a step out of my comfort zone and like being able to like step out in full confidence, knowing that no matter the outcome, like I was just happy to absolutely be there. And so just to actually win the title and like be the first ever title holder for Transcontinental Pageants Canada, like it really has changed my life.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I feel like that's such a great mindset to have going into pageantry. Like you said, like, yeah, in the back of your mind, it would be great if you won, but going in there and genuinely just wanting to have a good time and meet people and enjoy the experience, I feel like is a much better, plus like positive mindset. It's so easy to just get really stressed and anxious going into these things. Like you are going in front of a lot of people, you are around a lot of people you don't know. So to try and relieve the pressure as much as possible is definitely a great thing to do. Did you get any sponsorships for your pageant?
Ooh, because of the time frame, no, I wasn't able to. For the Atlanta one, my family in the US actually ended up sponsoring me, and shout out to the family. I really could not have done Atlanta without them. But for Canada, it was like I think it was a span of like 3 weeks
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yeah, there was not a lot of time in
That makes
between.
sense why your clothes didn't arrive in time
Right,
too, right?
right. I was like, oh my, no, the clothes I had ordered from like mid-August for Toronto in
Oh,
September.
gotcha, gotcha.
So for them not to arrive and then they
Yeah.
arrived right like a week even after, I was able to wear all of that for Atlanta though.
Oh,
So,
nice. I forget which pageant of mine it was, but I think like the same thing happened. Like I had to quickly buy something like the day before because something just never arrived.
and it's just, oh, I was like,
I know.
count your days.
Did you get any coaching for this pageant?
Um, yeah, so I have some lovely people in my life that do model and do take part in pageants too. And so I'd like to, I guess, shout out my stylist, who's also a model. His name is Bishop. He was really instrumental in FaceTime, Zoom walking back and forth and posing. I also took a lot of my learned lessons from Miss North America Worlds last year. The walking or stage director for that was Luke, and he was just absolutely phenomenal. A year later, I could still hear his voice in my head about your posture, your shoulders, make sure how you're walking, heel to toe. And so it was a mix of just like past coaching and then obviously having current people today too.
Yeah, that's great. And you know, it's a good lesson when, like you said, it like sticks with you even years later.
Yeah,
So the
just
Atlanta one was kind of
was
the
yeah.
international.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was like I said, it was amazing. Atlanta was I haven't been there since I was like probably 6 or 7. And so going back and as an adult and going to I think we were down in like McDonough is what they call it. We were able to meet the mayor and the mayor's right hand. Her name was Cinderella. She was absolutely amazing. That was a definitely whew, it was a trip to remember. And I have photos and laughs and memories for like years to come.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, want to tell us a little bit about your Atlanta pageant as
Yeah,
well?
absolutely. So I was prepared clothes wise this time. Everything was ready. But I was just excited. My family was able to help me out immensely. Again, I love them so much dearly for being my biggest sponsors for Atlanta. And I remember I got there, and I met up with my director, and she was arriving at the same time, and we were able to meet up with the other Canadian girls. And so it was felt like a little bit like a reband back to Toronto. We got the band back together. And we got to the hotel, and again, it kind of the form ran almost similar to Toronto. First day was meet and greet and gift exchanges. The each days after that was there was a little bit more visitation within the city, I would say, than there was for Canada. We were able to do so many things. We we're able to go to the Coca-Cola Museum, which was amazing. Trying every single flavor of Coke that they had and going through the history of Coca-Cola. I was blown away, and they still had the original sign. I know, I was like, wow. I'm looking everywhere. I didn't even know Coca-Cola used to have like little characters to kind of like McDonald's has like their little friends. There were Coca-Cola characters. And from then on, we also went to um, the Olympic Park, and that was a beautiful view. We got on the rings, we were taking pictures, and that was so nice. And we were able to go to one of the days, we were able to go to a group home for young girls who are between foster care and their homes. And I think that day was absolutely the most touching for me. One of the girls stood up, and after we had done our introduction, she said, every year, I look forward to this day. Like, you guys have no idea how exciting it is and how much you touch my life every year that you guys come. And so, like, everybody was in tears. It was so beautiful to see again, like that change and that impact you have, even if you may not think like what you're doing is much, you never know how everybody else will receive it. And so that for me was just like, wow, like, and it was in the same area because I do work, I've been a support worker before and I do work with kids currently. So children and like their sincerity has always been a soft spot for me. And so getting to meet these girls and giving them gifts and telling them a little bit about our stories and just helping push their dreams too and getting to know them. So many of them were like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And it's like, of course, like you, whatever you put your mind to, you can absolutely do it. Like, and so that was just, it was so amazing. And then after that, we went to a tea house. Um, and oh my goodness, we got that's where we got to meet the mayor again. We had tea with the mayor, and she was just an amazing, phenomenal woman. She was currently they're doing another election for the mayor. So for her to be able to make time to come out with us twice, we had dinner with her the next day. It was just it shows how much she cares about like what's happening in her city and how involved she was. And we were able to bring some gifts for her too. And she started tearing up and like it was such a like heartfelt moment because she's like, you ladies have no idea. And we were like, no, like it shows us and like how much your city cares and loves for you because you take the time to really get to know and be there for anything that's happening. And so that was really amazing. And then came rehearsals. And then the last day, again, there's a little bit of anxiety. You go through the week of like laughs and funs and going to, oh, we ended up going to the aquarium, and that was amazing. There was a dolphin show. And so you go through all these amazing trips and you make so many new friends, and then you get to the last day and you wake up and it's like, oh, early
Showtime.
morning jitters. It's time again. Like now the competition again settles back into your brain. It's no longer just a girl, a girl's trip far, far away. And so I just remember again, like that morning of being like, whatever happens, happens. This time around, I was so lucky that my mom was able to fly down to
Oh,
Atlanta,
that's nice.
and my auntie and some of my cousins came to watch me live and in person. And my mom wasn't able to come to Toronto, but she was there on FaceTime every single day for everywhere I went. So to have her in person for Atlanta, like actually meant so much to me. She's always been my biggest supporter. And so, like I said, like sitting there on the stage and nervous, wondering what's gonna happen. Um, it was just surreal. And like I said, hearing my name for Woman of Inspiration because of the question forums and like how I answered and just realizing like my truth and what I spoke about inspired like the women in the room. It was definitely surreal.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what do you think the like biggest difference from your national to internationals was?
Ugh. I think the pressure of the question forum. Um, it was like, hey, like the first one was you went in blast and easy. In like Canada, I was very much like, okay, like this is who I am, this is what I want to do. Coming to Atlanta, it was more of like taking into actual serious consideration of like the platform that I have and what do I stand for, what do I believe in. Transcontinental pageants is about beauty that inspires. It's not enough to just be pretty. Pretty will not get you far in this
Hmm.
pageant. It's more of like, what do you bring to the table as a woman? Like, how do you inspire the people around you? And like, specifically the director for Transcontinental pageants as a whole, Sabrina Pinion, she shared her story a little bit about her life and like her struggles with domestic violence and like how like she was able to overcome so much hurdles in her life to the point where she was the former Mrs. USA, Miss Universe USA. I don't quote me wrong for this one. I'm like, I gotta get this title for sure correct. Let me search it up really quickly. She was the Mrs. Universe 2014.
Mm, wow.
Um, and so hearing her story and just how amazing and how far she's come in her life and all the things she had to go through. For me, I really sat there and I feel like for the Canadian pageant, I didn't really go in depth of who I was as a person. I was really surface level about like my work and what I love to do and like who I was on like a day-to-day people person. I think for the this Atlanta pageant, I really sat there and I shared things with some people that like some friends and family don't even know about. And so being able to share the truth and give a piece of myself that I don't usually do to a lot of people, it was really rewarding and again like meant a lot to me to again have that title of Woman of Inspiration.
Yeah, I love that that's your answer too, because even almost like what you said is when you're in a national pageant, you're kind of like proving yourself. But like once you get to an international pageant, everyone has already proved themselves. So it's like finding that thing that's gonna make you stand out above everyone else because you know everyone's worthy.
And they were all gorgeous too.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, the Europeans came in. I was like, oh my goodness. Absolutely gorgeous.
So do you think that you see more pageantry in your future?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you
I
already
think
have ideas of like what systems you want to do?
I kind of, yeah, absolutely. I do. Definitely now, being the first Miss Canada obviously makes me a legacy queen for Miss Canada Transcontinental pageants. And so, I'm thinking again, maybe next year, whether or not would I want to maybe compete again for the title for 2026 or, I think, or just come and be a judge or be like be there for support for the next ladies are going. I know for myself personally, 2027, I would love to participate in the Miss Universe Canada pageants. That is a goal I
Oh,
kind of want to set.
no, that's amazing goal to have. Like that's huge. And if you
Um,
do that, usually Miss Universe is held here in Windsor, which is where I live. So we could meet each other.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. But it's just a goal. The current Miss Universe Canada, Jamie Yvonne, she's from Lethbridge. And so
Oh,
I didn't realize that till
yeah, I didn't
someone
know.
was asking me and they're like, "Oh, you're the second Lethbridge woman to have a title." And I was like, "Right, like Jamie." And so like I think that's also just inspirational, her journey too and everything that she's done to get to that spot, but I would love to tip my hat in the ring and try for Miss Universe. And again, just be accepting of anything that happens and just willing to meet again more beautiful women and hear their stories and just be inspired by just the directors and the people around.
For
It's gonna
sure.
I'm excited thinking about it. Definitely definitely
Yeah.
planning for it.
And a little bit of a deeper question, since there was a lot of controversy with the Miss Universe, obviously, this year. What are your opinions on it? And what would you have done if you were in that room? People don't know what I am talking about. There was a lot of disrespect towards a certain contestant where a lot of people got up and stood and walked out with her, even though they were threatened to be kicked out of the competition. So, what are your thoughts?
So for me, all my family, my friends know me. Like the one thing that will actually get me really upset is like anybody being disrespectful to my friends or my family members. And I just remember like watching it on TikTok and Instagram. And I was like, immediately in my head, I'm like, if I was in that room, oh my goodness, he wouldn't have even been able to finish that sentence because I would have been like, I'm not sure who you're talking to. But it's definitely not Miss Mexico, and it's definitely not any of us ladies in the room. It's just not like there's always a better way to approach things, and I definitely believe, like, even though there was an apology after, no matter like whatever the circumstances or the reasons are of whatever's being asked, there's just always a better way to handle it. Especially for how prestige Miss Universe is and how much oh, what's the word I'm looking for? How much the bar is set so high in their regard and for everything that they stand for and what their platform stands for and what these women from around the world are going and representing. For that, amongst other controversies to be happening, I think definitely there were so many things that can definitely be handled better or even said better. um, I genuinely, like I said, I won't, I can't speak for them not being in the room, but as an outsider too, as well, cheering on, of course, Canada and other beautiful women, I definitely feel like there was so much things that could have been happened, that could have been handled. I would have walked out of that room too, immediately. Because there's definitely like a place that's meant to empower women. There shouldn't be people disregarding or talking down to women when that's what the whole platform is not about.
100%. Plus, not to mention, like as sad as it is to say, at least it happening and it being publicly happening, you know it's not going to happen again.
Yeah,
Like they're going to
yeah.
be a lot more picky and like who they let host, who they let into the circle of being able to be a part of this because like you said, like it is a privilege to be a part of the system and people have already worked their butts to get there to be treated well. So very good answer.
Thank you.
Amazing. Well, it was
What would
lovely
you have
meeting
done?
you. Oh, I definitely would. I'm the same way. Like, even I was posting on my story, I was like, yeah, I would have walked out. Like, I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't think I would have let him finish his sentence when someone's doing something wrong. Like, I am one to speak up. Like, that is
Mm.
not okay. You need to stop. Yeah, no.
Women
Uh,
empowerment,
yeah,
honestly.
literally. So is there anything that you would like to kind of talk about or bring attention to while you kind of have a moment to speak?
I think just keep an eye out for me, especially Lethbridge and maybe even in Calgary or in Edmonton. Um, I'm not going to be shy about it. I was really shy when I had the Miss Lethbridge title. Not a lot of people knew, but obviously as Miss Canada and Transcontinental, keep an eye out. I am on the move. This Watch Me initiative, I want to take it Canada-wide and hopefully one day worldwide. And so, for any people that are interested, definitely reach out and let me know. I want to be the face of the change and empowering everybody, not just women and men alike, but children. It doesn't matter what age you are. This initiative does not have any rules that does not allow anybody to take part in it. If you have something that your heart is after that you want to chase for, go for it. And don't let anybody that tells you you can't, make sure that you tell them, watch me, and then continue to like succeed and be better than even the dreams that you set for yourself. Go above and beyond. And I will happily always be there to support and help lead and be that person in everybody's corner.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me, Victoria. It's been amazing.
Of course. And I hope you have a good night.
Thank you. You too. And maybe I'll see you in Windsor in
Maybe.
2027.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.